Live on Facebook and YouTube.
What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube?
And
Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon. So no one's really going to be on. They should be doing hair.
They should be
yeah.
doing
live on Instagram, live on all platforms.
What's up, Instagram? All right, James, you got a mic, right?
I got a mic.
We're good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Monroe, one of our newest stylists. She's bi-coastal, so she travels from New Jersey to California. It's got to be really painful in the wintertime, honestly, to go to that warm weather and come back here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think seasonal depression is a real thing. And I definitely, when I go out there, I just feel like I light up.
Well, you do out here too. Like when it's like 60, and normally it's 30 in the winter.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, summertime's here.
Even this week, you can see it like on people's faces.
Everyone's
can see
happier.
It on, like Instagram, people are posting it. Yeah, it definitely makes a difference.
It's huge. James, you were in Vegas, what, how many years?
8 years.
8 years he was in Vegas. How was your first, this is your first winter back, right?
It was miserable. It was so depressing.
And he's pale to begin with.
Yeah.
Let alone no sunlight. And now he's miserable and he's extra pale.
I lost all my color. I'm now translucent.
What is what is the hardest part about traveling back and forth?
I would say it feels like I have one foot somewhere and the other foot somewhere else.
Like you're not really planted at home yet.
Yeah, like I don't feel that I've settled in New Jersey yet. I go back every 5 weeks.
Okay.
So it's like I go back to California and I'm reliving that lifestyle. The restaurants that I go to, the places that I walk around, and then I come back here and it's like a whole
Different
life.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of cool.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I am so grateful. I am so blessed that I get to go out there. I love my clients, and that's why I do it. When I first told my clientele that I was moving back to New Jersey, people were flipping out on me. They were really freaked out, especially in that area. There isn't a lot of curly hair specialists.
Okay.
So I really found my niche, and through word of mouth and families. So I have the dads and the kids and the moms, and they all come as groups.
It's two different types of clientele. Well, Jersey, we're just talking about it because we're from Jersey, and stop being a little bitch. Like we just had that conversation.
I know.
And like you don't speak like that on the West Coast. It's just
No.
more gentle. It's like a little soft.
It is. So when I first moved to California years ago, I remember walking to the salon, meeting people, and just being like, fuck, shit.
Yeah.
And like their eyes would light up so big. And I was like, okay, I got to tone this down a little bit. And what's fun is that I do have a bunch of clients that are from the East Coast.
Okay.
So once they walk through that door, it's
on,
up, bitch.
Yeah. I noticed that. James, did you notice that when you were in Vegas?
Absolutely. It was so different. You walk into a convenience store, people would say hello, whereas out here you walk into a convenience store, people are looking at you like, what are you doing in my store? Like everybody's so nice out west.
Yeah.
I feel like California, I lived in San Diego. And so San Diego is so different than LA.
Mm-hmm.
I feel. And then LA is way different than San Francisco. And like, where are you at in California? And like, have you traveled around California a good amount?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So before I moved out there, I had always gone to LA, and I thought that would be the transition I was going to make because I worked in New York City. So I thought going from New York City to LA would be the right move. We went out there right before COVID or during COVID. And we're like, let's not go to any major city right now. So we found this town, Temecula. So it was between LA and San Diego. I had family close by, so it just made sense. But yeah, the difference of LA kind of city life to Temecula, where I landed, is wine country. Very ranch.
I know Temecula, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it's so sweet. It's a really sweet town. And it's just blossoming so much, even in the past couple of years that I've been out there. And then you travel down to San Diego and it's like beach life.
Yeah. It just was, I loved San Diego. Like it was awesome. The weather was great. Everyone was healthy. Like everyone works out, they're walking, they're jogging.
Everyone's outside.
It is just slow. Yes. Like, because I had just got out of the Marine Corps. I'm from the Northeast. So New York, Long Island, Boston, New Jersey. Like we're relatively similar in terms of our pace, right? Mm-hmm. And then in the Marine Corps, it's just fast paced anyway.
Yeah.
Then I got to San Diego, and like I'm online at a Albertsons. That was the food store.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for the guy in front of me to pay. And he's like counting out change. And I'm like, dude, let's go.
Mhm.
Like, I'll pay for you. Get out of my way. And
Yeah.
you're just rushed. It's like such a rushed experience. Now, that pace, do you feel the difference between the customer experience on what clients expect out here? Because as I'm a dude, I want a haircut. I want it in 5 minutes and I want to get out. Right. I can't sit in a chair long. And
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of guys are like that. Do you feel the clients in California, it's just different, like they're ready for the experience more so? Or is it the same because that's what you attract?
I think it's fairly similar.
Okay.
Um, I think if men are coming to a salon opposed to
A
a
barbershop?
barber shop, they want an experience. And I think they get really excited when they get the shampoo and the
Yeah.
scalp massage and styling their hair at the end, teaching them product knowledge, diffusing their hair.
Oh, guys, have you never been to Monroe before? Like the experience she puts on with she has crystals you put on your eyes, and then it's like the scalp massage, and
Yeah.
then it's wild. Like people lay in that chair and they drift off to like a different dimension and they come right back.
Oh,
Like it's
yeah.
awesome what you provide for that. It should be a standard too, like in every salon, but you have that little special tweak that you do.
Yeah.
Where did you learn that from?
I think that's what makes people keep coming back. I think it's just through experience, my training. I was trained in New York. I just feel like my education was exceptional.
Yeah.
From that, I did move to Austin for a little bit, and I had a mentor there that I trained with. And then going back to New York and then going back to California, I feel like I just got like a really good mix of different mentors.
That's great.
And it just kind of made the experience a little bit more special. And then once people meet me and they have that trust in me after that first
We're
appointment,
super chill.
yeah,
Like you're very just chill, go with the flow.
yeah. It took
Easy to
some time
speak
to
to.
get there, though.
Okay.
Yeah, it was funny. Before I came here today, I was thinking, what would my little girl self think of me today? And I think she'd be a little disappointed that she's not a Broadway actress.
Okay.
But then I was like, hold on, what would myself 10 years ago think of myself? Because when I first got into this industry, I was anxious. I was scared. I was intimidated. I always say I went to boot camp for hair.
Well, you started off in New York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's intimidating just being in New York alone.
Yeah. That alone, I always say it was like that movie Devil Wears Prada,
Mhm.
but for a hair salon.
Okay.
It was exciting, it was scary, beauty, fashion, but my education was phenomenal. So
What year was that? You were in New York.
ooh, I think like I started out 2013, 14, starting cosmetology school, and then went right into their apprenticeship
Okay.
program.
Was it with Nick Rojo?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
He's got a good program. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember Nick from back in like the early 2000s and like the late 90s when I started. It was just a different animal out there. And you said New York, I was like, oh, they're from New York.
Yeah.
And then obviously like education came online and people were really able to kind of get the skills anywhere they lived.
Yeah.
But New York was it. That was like New York haircuts, New York fashion,
Mhm.
New York color. Like it was just, that was it for hair, fashion, and everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got into it, I literally Googled best cosmetology school in New York. And so I checked out other schools,
Yeah.
but once you got to that facility, you're like,
How was your Cosmo
"Whoa."
school? Because ours was basic shit, like
It
basic
was awesome.
skateboard set.
But
You don't
that's
learn
it was
anything.
part of his program.
Okay.
So he has his salon, and then connected to it is the school. So you were seeing things every day of the master stylists walking through, and you were getting educated by them.
When I first started, they were like movie stars.
Yes.
Like because I went to Artistic Academy, and Deep Squall is like a big salon in our area.
Yes.
My sister did hair there, and like the guys were driving Mercedes, and they had Louis Vuitton, and they wore button downs, and they were like celebrities. Like they were just like rock stars in the hair industry.
Right.
And I'll never forget like the persona you had to like live up to back
Yes.
then. And then once you get into it, you're like, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing either. Like they were just making shit up.
I remember,
Right?
yeah, one time I had a client And one of my educators had a client, and the ladies wanted a similar haircut. And we just happened to both go into the break room. Like, what are you going to do for this haircut? She's like, I don't know. I was like, oh man, you're the same
Yeah.
boat as me. You're supposed
What do
to
you mean you
know.
don't know? And I think that's
But-
good for young people to hear, because
Yeah.
we have a lot of seasoned salon owners who listen too, but young stylists listen. And a lot of times it's just connecting the dots through experience. So
Yes.
you don't really know till you get in the hair, because your hair is different than my hair and your head's different than my head shape.
Mhm.
And I could teach you the haircut, but then all of a sudden Barbara has a bald spot right here, and now that's not going to work.
Mhm.
So you can only do it by experience.
Yeah.
And so I wanted Monroe to teach at the salon, and at first you were like, well, I don't know, like how, like I just do my thing.
Right.
And so that's like, you're an artist. It's like asking an artist to teach you how to paint. I just paint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird. Like, even if you think of a chef sometimes, like there's certain things that are very technical and you follow a map. But now just
By
being
taste too. Yeah.
by being in the industry and experience, now there is so much of an artistry in it. So like you said, for me to be like, oh, you see this curve here on the head, and we're gonna keep this a little bit longer. But it's
Yeah, I just did a haircut this past week for one of our assistants here, and I was like, I do a lot of twist cutting and like carving out and pulling curls down and cutting them. She's like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just looking at where her curl's not laying right and cutting that piece.
Yeah.
And then the client, she was like, I always wanted to cut my own hair. I'm like, cut it. Like, if you're in the mirror, especially your curly hair, and you could say yes or no to this, but sometimes like that curl, just trim it.
Oh
And it bounces right back up again. And that's the thing, like getting out of the structured way of cutting hair, especially for curly hair. At least I feel if you cut curly hair like you do your graduated bob, like Sassoon style, it's not going to lay right. I think it needs to be too free. It needs to be unstructured rather than structured for curly hair to live the right way.
Oh yeah.
And the example I was asking them was, who has the prettiest hair? Like, who do you think has the, like, age wise or person wise, who do you think has the prettiest hair? Typically, they always get complimented on their hair.
I don't think you can answer that.
Ever know, like, younger girls who never got a haircut yet, like girls with their come out of the beach and like they're naturally highlighted, but they never got a real haircut yet. And their hair just waves in a certain pattern. And then they lose their curls after a certain amount of time. But I feel like it's because they're starting to get structured haircuts. So before you get a real structured haircut, typically, like my niece always had great hair, right? Natural highlights, little wave, and it just looked amazing. And if you think about it, and this is how I connected the dots when I first started doing hair, about being more like a freedom, like unstructured hair cutter. And I'm like, well, if you pull her hair up in sections, it's like so uneven on the inside.
Mhm.
The perimeter could be even, but everything on the exterior needs to be free to live. And if you think of like traditional hair cutting, like just blunt right across, the curls can't really bend or move because they're getting stuck. So point cutting, texturizing, and the razor, that's what your specialty is, right?
Right. I love
That's where it comes in.
Yeah, with razor cutting. It does depend on the texture of the hair, so it's not for everybody.
Everyone's scared of the razor and curly hair.
Yeah, but
Like,
for me,
it's not a one size
I
fits
love
all.
it. Yeah.
Like, it depends on the person holding the razor too.
That's
So-
what I always say too, because sometimes I'll pull out the razor and people will be like, no, no, no. I had like a really bad razor haircut one time. And I'm like, have you ever had a bad scissor cut? Yeah. So it's not the tool, it's the person behind the tool. But yeah, with curly hair, I love using it. It just creates a very soft line rather than, like you said, that blunt line.
Yeah.
The grow out is a lot nicer. You don't see such like harsh lines.
In terms of razor cutting in California, 'cause it's known out here. Is it as known out in California?
I think probably a little bit more LA.
Okay.
But the technique that I learned through Erojo is it's not with one of those like
Feather blades.
feather blades. So
It's a
there's
real
a
straight
lot of
blade.
like, fluidity to it.
So I've used a straight blade before.
Yeah.
And 'cause I never got trained with the razor. I just
Not
started
that there's
using
anything
it.
wrong with that.
No. I'm cutting hair. And then when I took my section, I had it in my hand and closed my thumb on the blade and just sliced the whole thing open.
Such a clean cut, isn't
And
it?
I was just done after that. I was like, all right, I'm going back to a feather blade.
Yeah.
But it's a dangerous tool.
It's a very dangerous tool. There's times where I have to, because people talk with their hands.
Yeah.
I'm like, please put your hands under your cape for me. Even if people like are passing by me, I'll hold the razor up
Yeah.
so it's away from people, because you can just accidentally slice somebody
Oh, it's
who's
wild.
right next to you. So you really have to be aware of everything going on around you.
You follow Jacob Kahn?
No.
He's out in New York. He uses a straight edge a lot.
Mhm.
He's super quick with it when he does it.
Oh
And
yeah.
that just gives me anxiety. Ever since that time, I stopped using that kind of razor.
Yeah.
But from never using it before to actually, but you started using it, right? You
Yeah,
started with the straight
We
blade.
started in cosmetology
So,
school.
with a straight blade like that. On
It was
razor cutting.
guarded, but
Okay.
with the straight blade.
Oh, okay. So we didn't have that. We had a feather blade.
Mhm.
And so it's so different. But the look is actually, it's a razor, but it comes out different with the straight blade.
Mm.
I think it comes out a little different. I think it's because of the motion you use, because of the way the handle is,
Yeah.
and the feather blade being straight. But there's a lot of variations now. Like you have
Yes.
like the circle with the triangle, and do you use any of those tools too, or just straight
No,
blade?
just my straight blade.
Have you ever used those before?
I think I played around with it, but
It's just
like I said, it's somebody once described it. It's almost like our hands are like butterfly wings
okay.
when you're using the straight blade, and how we were trained, rather than like a very
Stiff almost.
stiff,
Yeah.
edgy kind of cut. Yeah.
'Cause I even take my finger and like carve out with
Yeah.
the feather blade, but with the razor,
You can with the straight blade. I mean, you're not like using that motion,
Yeah.
but you're pulling the hair and you can slice through.
So what I would do is I take a section up, and if this is the hair, I take the blade on one side, my finger on the other, because there's a guard,
Mm-hmm.
and I carve it out.
Woof.
You don't get cut. It's just a different way
Right.
of doing it. So the way I use the razor, I got to completely forget everything I ever learned with it
Mm-hmm.
and try a straight blade.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just ever since I cut myself, I was like, all right, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I have one too for when I shave at home. Like I could shave with a straight blade at home.
My husband's asked me to do that. I'm like, no, I'm not skilled in that. I've done like the back of his neck before.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not taking my blade.
So
to
I
your
tried
face.
carving out a line, and I just ripped myself up. I'm getting decent at it now, but I like the beard lines to do with the razor.
Yeah.
But it's a talent. Like barbers who use a straight blade and know how to do it,
Oh yeah.
like it's impressive.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So you don't
Speaking of-
do any shaves
No, I'll do like with trimmers
Mhm.
if you want a little cleanup.
on the beard?
I'll do your eyebrows if you want. But when it comes to like a really nice beard trim, I always recommend a barber. And in the salon in California, we have a barber. And so I'll always be like, "You go to him for your beard. It's okay. We're family."
Take us back to I want to talk about Austin and California
Mm.
and like jumping around. How was Austin in terms of the salon, like industry out there, and like
Yeah.
style, fashion?
I was really lucky. Um, I had a friend that switched from Austin
Mhm.
to go to New York while I was going from New York to Austin. So she recommended her salon to me,
Oh, cool.
which was right by the University UT.
Mhm.
So we were just on the main drag. So we had so much like traffic coming in. But I got busy right away. And same thing, there tends to be this niche in certain areas of people that need a curly hairstylist,
Yeah.
as well as the razor cut.
So we're learning that now, because
Mm.
I'm just doing really minor Google like search trials right now, and a lot of people are coming in just from Google, like almost
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
Googling curly hairstylist.
Yep.
And finding you. So what we're doing is now creating a whole landing page for Monroe, and like literally using all the keywords for curly hair, razor cut, and gonna blow her up over here. But it's difficult coming to a new area, right? Because we're like in the middle of nowhere over here,
Yeah.
but there's no foot traffic really.
Right.
It's strictly going to be marketing.
Mhm.
So we're going to use you as my guinea pig right now,
Mhm.
just to go from not knowing many people here to blowing you right up.
Right.
But
Wait,
in that area, like in
yeah.
curly hair cutting too.
And like I said to you the other day, people don't know I exist yet.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a cool way to build the
Get 'em out there.
clientele, as well as the people that have been coming in with curly hair. That's literally what they're Googling, is curly hair in the area. And I had one lady the other day, and she's just like, "I'm the only one I know that has curly hair." I'm like, "Really?"
Really?
But okay. No, I'm glad
Yeah.
that you found me. I also think in the past 10 years, people have been embracing
Their curls.
their natural texture and their curls. So the way they grew up doing, the Victoria's Secret blowouts and J-Lo hair, it's different now. So I think people want to learn.
Well, hairstyles back in the day when we started, it was the pin straight flat iron look.
Mhm,
And then when it came to curly hair, nobody knew what the hell was going on.
mhm.
And even volume wasn't around back then.
Yeah.
So it was like slick, straight, flat hair. Keratins were around. It was like Japanese straighteners. Nobody wanted any volume. It was
Right.
wild. And then we just transitioned back into like the bouncy big blowout and curly hair, and afros came back, and boys are getting like
Oh,
perms on top of
yeah.
their head.
The amount of teenage boys that have asked me if I do perms is insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Whoever thought perms were coming back?
Right.
I didn't.
Well, it's the curly hair and textured. They like that beachy look.
I can get really curly hair. Like my hair grows long, gets curly. But everyone
I was
thinks- yeah.
excited when I first saw your
Yeah.
photo. I'm just like, I'm gonna cut his hair one day.
I try and grow it long, and it just gets out of control, and I want to shave it again.
Yeah.
But when it comes to you as a stylist, like where do you see yourself in your career? Like, what do you want to do with this career? That's a big question.
It is a big question,
Yeah.
and I think about it all the time. I think from moving around so much, it really halts what I see in the future.
Because you don't do anything digitally. Like you could have, because you're good at what you do. You're great at what you do. Like a digital program, and you could travel anywhere.
Yes. So I have one client in California, and he has a vineyard.
Okay.
He has a vineyard, and he has his own wine company, and he was part of Beachbody.
Okay. I know Beachbody.
Yeah. So he always had an online business and something physical.
Yeah.
And I remember him like telling me just in an entrepreneurial way, like, Monroe, like you need to start doing something online. So the wheels have been turning a little
Because
bit.
here's the personal economy. It's like what I teach. You have a service. You cut hair.
Mhm.
That's part one. Part two is either a product or a knowledge-based business. So you coming out with a curl cream, something that's your own, or retailing, maybe your online store.
Mhm.
We can help you out with that too. But it's a product, whether you're retailing someone else's or you manufacture your own and
Right.
do that. So you could specialize in curls, curly hair, whatever, your own razor. Could be anything.
Mhm.
Then the third one is knowledge. So you could play with product or knowledge, whichever one you want. But if you have a digital program where you're literally the best at what you do, because you should be if you're going to do it, like no one does this to half-ass it, right? You want to
Mhm.
be the best. You create that digital program. There's no deliverables. It's online.
Yeah.
Like your margins are phenomenal, and you're able to really give back to people because people struggle with this area of their career. And if you're able to help them, it's a win-win for everybody. And I know you're thinking like, oh, shit, how do I teach it? The one thing that I like to tell people is just film yourself.
Yeah.
Like what we should do for you, honestly, is film you for every haircut. And then you voice over what you're doing throughout the haircut, how you tilt the head, how you section the head, everything you do.
Yeah.
Then what you do is take that video transcription, throw it in ChatGPT, and have it analyze everything you said and create you an outline and checklist step by step how you did that haircut.
Yeah.
And then now you could actually duplicate it with a video series.
Yeah.
So that's what I would like to do with you.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, my wheels have been turning for a while because I can only physically work so much.
Yeah.
And you reach a cap. But when you have an online business, you don't have to physically be there.
Did I ever show you the numbers on how it could work?
No.
No, I'm gonna show you. All right. I love doing this for people. All right. So
I also think too, the difficult thing about being in an artistic industry is a lot of times you don't get taught business.
you don't. And here's the reason why. You're an artist or a technician. In business, you're an entrepreneur. So every person who's a technician, they think, well, what's the next step for me? It's to open a salon. It may just be doing rental properties. Like I know a lot of guys who are great barbers, but they can't run a barbershop for shit.
Mhm.
So be the best barber and start buying laundromats, and then you're good.
Yeah.
Like it's turnkey. And so a lot of hairdressers like, what's the next step for me? Not necessarily. Maybe invest. Like you can invest your money and have that work for you too.
Yeah.
Rather than you open a salon that your rent now is $5,000 a month. You don't know anything about leadership.
Right.
And now you're coming out of pocket $200,000 for the build out plus $5,000 a month. You can't get anyone to work for you. And now you hate your job because all you did was buy yourself a job. So yeah, you're right. We're an artist, then we're a manager, then we're an entrepreneur. There are
Mhm.
3 different hats you have to wear. And unfortunately, you don't get taught that,
Right.
you know?
And
So
that's something going back into the bicoastal
yeah.
life that I'm learning is the first time in my life really being an entrepreneur. Um, Out there, it's like I book my own appointments. I'm my own receptionist. I'm my own financial
Yeah.
analyst. Yeah, it's a lot of hats that you have to wear.
You can delegate with Upwork. Do you have a virtual assistant?
Virtual assistant.
Yeah. A
No,
girl in the Philippines, India.
no,
Yeah, I have a
just
ton of them.
me.
Have them. You could get them for like $4 to $8 an hour, and they handle. I got a kid, a client of mine. He's in South Carolina. I'm not going to shout him out. He's doing like on a good month, he'll do like 25, 28,000 a month
Mhm.
with someone answering his phones for him, a virtual assistant, doing callbacks, handling emails, handling everything.
I think I'm not there.
Okay.
I like control.
Mhm.
I'm calm, but I like control.
That's the problem with a lot of artists because you control it.
Mhm.
You can't grow a business. Like Steve Jobs didn't make the iPhones.
Right.
He gave you the framework, the vision, but he didn't build them. So he had to give up some control. Gave you the framework. So as long as you inspect what you expect, then you're good.
Mhm.
Like you just give the details of how you want it done. Be very clear on your definition of done. And this project is done when this is true. And if that's not true, then it's not done. So it takes a lot of it's just like cutting hair. You have to acquire the skills of communication and letting go a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's so much easier once you do. It's the only way to grow
Yeah.
because you can't do everything. But I'm going to take you through the numbers real quick
Okay.
for a digital program for you.
Okay.
All right. So let's say you build up to 250,000 followers. I just use this number, which is a lot,
Mhm.
not impossible. You can do it. And let's say after 3 or 4 years posting every day, acquiring all these followers, and Instagram, it could be any platform, but I'm
Okay.
picking one platform, times 33%, that's 82,000 people. So 1/3 of your audience times 1%. So 1% of 1/3 of your audience is only 825.
Mhm.
Let's say you have a really good program where call it $99 a month,
Okay.
right? You teach them razor cutting, styling, customer service. You meet with them once a week and like get on a call with a group. That's the format I like to teach. Times 99, that's your monthly revenue.
Mhm.
81,000. So $81,000 reoccurring revenue. Now it's not impossible. That's 100% possible today. Maybe in the 70s it wasn't, but today it's girls are doing this right now
Yeah.
who aren't as talented as you. And let's say that doesn't even work. Divide that by 2, half of that. It's 40,000.
Yeah.
So 0.5% of your audience. Or let's say you have a really good following and you only have 10,000 followers, but 1,000 of them want to do it.
Yeah.
So I had a girl who's working with me, phenomenal at updos, and she wound up taking a program, and the girl had like close to 1 million followers. And I started doing the math. It was all updos. That was it. That's
Yeah.
all she did was updos. And I looked at her online course. So many people were subscribed to it. And she was doing, if I'm not mistaken, like almost 500,000 a month in recurring revenue.
Wow.
Like 500,000 every month.
Yeah.
Just teaching updos. Like not even like coaching. Like her program was already pre-made videos.
Is this Heather Chapman?
No, I mean, it might be. I forget the girl's name back
Okay.
then. It could be. She's really good at updos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I actually took her class.
Okay, but she has an online course too.
Oh yeah, rad girl. Yeah.
Okay, it might be hers, but Christina's her name. She's awesome at
Oh.
updos now too. No, the girl who used to work with me.
Oh.
And I'm like doing the math, and this is a couple years ago. I'm like, holy shit! Like, and I was selling products online,
Mhm.
so I thought like that was the next step. I'm like, that's not the next step. Like, this is the next step. And I was like, holy shit! Like, become the best in the world at something, and then show other people how great you are, and teach them
Yeah.
how to be great. And so when I ask the 3 questions, it's like, what experiences do you want to have in life? What kind of person do you need to become to make those experiences possible? And then how are you going to help other people make their experiences possible too? And that third question is like, you're just showing people how great it is to cut curly hair. And like, it's just a transition of what you should do
Yeah.
in your business. I know it's scary to be like,
Yes.
who am I to teach other people?
Right. And I think even there's almost this imposter syndrome
Mhm.
that I face sometimes, even with this like bicoastal life. And that's why I say like I'm pretty new to being an entrepreneur. Um, So I feel like I'm kind of like learning as I go. Um, but that's also why I came to you and came to this salon. We had a couple of discussions, and just watching your videos, I felt like this is my next step.
Do you log onto the program ever and watch the videos in the community?
Sometimes,
Okay.
sometimes, but that's why I knew coming to you, I was just like, this is the next chapter. I don't know how to figure out more of a business side, more of an online uh business, and that's why I was like, I have
what
to
we're gonna
work
do
with
now
you.
is we're gonna be taking like, so I wanted to learn how to coach because it was important to me, and so I jumped into it and learned how to do it. Now I'm taking that business that I learned over the last 2 years, 3 years, whatever, um, and I'm taking it back to the salon again. So in order to be good at something, you have to do it. Like you can just watch a video on cutting hair. You have to cut hair. So in order to coach, I had to coach people. Like I
Yeah.
had to figure out how it actually worked. And so the salon took the back burner for a little while in order for me to get the skills needed to create the plan I had for everyone.
Yeah.
So now every stylist is going to be a client, a coaching client. And me and you are going to take a look at your business, be like, all right, where do you want to go? Here's how I can help you get there. Here's the path we're going to work on. And like Google ads, Facebook ads, we're going to advertise, we're going to monetize, and we're going to be able to do that. We're going to build your personal economy. And so it was like, it's funny when you first came in, it was like bad timing because I got out from behind the chair.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, I'm doing this other thing. And I'm like, just chill, bear with me for a little bit. We're coming back. And it's like been a fun little trust transition because you've been super trusting about it, which
Yeah.
is amazing.
Well, I feel like it's both ways.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't know who I was. We were chatting while I was still living
Oh,
in
let me say something
California.
too, because I just made a comment or made a reel the other day. And it was like, hey, if you don't speak to anybody on social media, you're at the party, not talking to anybody. And there's a bunch of hairstylists there. And the other person at the party is speaking to everyone, handing out cards, exchanging numbers. And guess what? When they leave, they're going to have all the stylists.
Yeah.
We just got in a random Instagram
It was
conversation.
random.
I DM'd
about
you.
business. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I have part of my coaching program. I teach how to message people. And I teach it whether you want a client, you want a stylist, you want to sell a product, it works. You're literally here from that. So every person who's watching, it's like, I'm not going to message people. Well, then you're not going to get clients. You're not going to get stylists because Monroe's here because I said hello on Instagram. That's it.
That was it. Yeah. So I was still living in California, and my friend loves your videos, and she would send them to me, and I would be like, well, he actually messaged me. And, with all your followers, like, who would think, oh, would he really write back? And so then we got chatting and saying, like, oh, I'm in California, but I'm moving back to the East Coast. His response, where on the East Coast? New Jersey. Oh, I have 2 salons in New
Yeah.
Jersey. What? And so from that, and he's just like, oh, I have one in Fairfield. I'm like, I'm moving 15 minutes from there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, but that's what, like, I think there was a cool trust right from the beginning.
And she just told me to pick a song 10 minutes before the podcast started that I had already had on the reel before that or a story before that. So there's so many like, similarities too, like in energy, things we're into from ayahuasca to like meditation and like think like the realm of energy. So it's funny, like you meet people who are you attract who you're similar.
Yeah. Because even our first interview, you were asking like, what schedule would you like? And I was saying, oh, I need this day off and this day off because I take classes, but the time zone is online in California. And you're like, what classes? And I was like, a little hesitant to say. You're like, what? I was like, well, I take intuitive healing classes and energy work. And you're like, I love that stuff.
Yeah. I'm a certified theta healer.
Yeah. So it's,
I like
you find your people.
The weirder you are, the better. You were I like this salon is like the land of misfit toys from like I like people who are themselves, right? I don't want someone who wants to be like somebody else. Be like you. Mimic, like learn from other people, like pull from someone like your mentors and other people who have an influence on you. But at the end of the day, there's only one Monroe. And so some salons want people to be like the same. You want the same haircut from every stylist, anyone you go to in your salon. I get that business model. I don't want that business model. I want independent stylists who like have their own artistic ability and can really spread their wings and just be as big as they can in this industry. I don't want anyone to hold themselves back.
Yeah.
And I feel like some salon owners want like it's too structured and rigid, and they forget because remember, like technician, the manager, the entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur, but you forgot what it was like to be a technician or an artist, I should say. And you can't put an artist in a box. I just don't
Yeah.
think you can. And so I feel like a lot of our industry, because we have now we're going into like more of a business mindset because you're running a business and you're learning from people who have corporations or corporate jobs and they're business coaches, but they don't understand the dynamic of a salon.
Yeah.
It's way different. So if you have a business coach that doesn't understand the salon, it's going to be difficult for your team to actually start adopting some of the things they want you to do in the business because it's against our DNA. Like as an artist, like everyone's like, what about a dress code? Like, I don't want a dress code. I give them guidelines. Like sometimes you
Yeah.
got to reel people in. Like everyone knows that. But I don't want to tell you how to dress. Just don't look like shit. Like people are like, what's your dress code? Don't look like shit.
Yeah.
That's it. And some people, they look like shit and you got to tell them,
Yeah.
you know, it's
What's your opinion? Because I don't know if it was COVID or generational thing,
Mhm.
but a lot of controversy about when we were first starting in the industry of dressing up and wearing high heels,
yeah.
makeup, hair done every day. So now where it's super casual.
Yeah. Here's where I think it comes from. That's a great question. I think we were still trying to find ourselves as professionals.
Mm.
And so we had to dress the part in order to be accepted as professionals. Because if we showed up like that, we would get looked down on almost.
Yes.
Then people realized how much money hairstylists make. And she's like, fuck it. I'm making 10,000 a week doing extensions. I'll wear what I want. Cool. Yeah, I guess you can.
Yeah.
So we were told, because it was like the generation too. Like back then, Gucci shoes, Gucci loafers, pants, Louis belt, like what like people dressed up. And I feel like part of the imposter syndrome we had as stylists back then was to prove to people to be like, we make money.
Mm.
Right. And so you wanted to show up as a professional. And that was the trends back then. Then it came from like the undone makeup, like what girls do, like what the fuck's it called? Like they just rolled out of bed type makeup
Like
look.
clean
No, like
girl?
it's like they do their makeup, but it doesn't look like they have makeup on.
Yeah.
Whatever they call it. I'm not a
The
makeup artist.
natural look.
Yeah,
Natural.
but it takes them an hour to put their makeup on to make it look natural.
Yeah, we got to go on TikTok.
Yeah.
Got to figure that out.
And I feel like that is the style today. And so our generation is like, no, you look like you roll out of bed. And they're like, no, these shoes are $800. And so it's just different.
Yeah.
You know, and you think about people back in the 1930s,
Mm.
they're like, what do you mean you're not wearing a sport coat? You're not wearing a
Right.
jacket. And you go to country clubs back then.
Three-piece suits.
Yeah, you need a jacket to
Yeah.
come in. You have a vest. Like, and so we evolved through times and like our industry, in terms of fashion, because we were so connected to fashion back then, we still are. It's just fashion's different.
Yeah.
Like Yeezys look like they're ridiculous.
Yes.
And then people wear Yeezys and they look like slippers.
Yeah.
It's just different. But
It's funny. I distinctly remember there was this time that I was working at the salon in New York. And it was a Monday, so I was like a little bit more casual. And it was like a really like clean, crisp hoodie and some clean sneakers.
yeah.
And the manager coming up to me and being like, "What are you wearing?" And I was like, "Oh, it's my Yeezy look." And she's like, "You're lucky I don't send you home."
Yeah, it was like that back
Yeah.
then. My sister used to get sent home from work. She worked at BiCoastal. She's like, what the fuck you wearing? Not wearing that. And she got some from school too all the time for dressing crazy. But yeah, I think that part
Well,
of
that's
it,
where the artistic side of
It
us
was.
too.
like we have to be artists. And I think it had to do a little bit about, like I said before, because you said you're going to hair school. People are like, hair school? You're smarter than that. The fuck's that mean?
Right.
Smarter than that.
Right.
And now I feel like I was never a college person. College it wasn't in my cards. From
Yeah.
third grade, I knew I wasn't going to college.
Yeah. I
It
went
just-
1 year.
Yeah. I didn't apply. Never looked at a college. SATs, never took them.
You never took the SATs?
Oh,
Wow.
I just knew I
You just
wasn't going.
knew.
My mom begged me to not drop out of high school.
Wow.
Begged me because I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I worked at a restaurant, an Italian restaurant called Rillo's back on in East Hanover on Route 10. And so heavy Italian influence, Mercedes, Cadillacs rolling up, like blue collar guys, you know, and some of these guys maybe didn't have jobs. They had a lot of money. They did what they did on the side. And like, I was 14 and the owner's like, Nikki, you know how to drive cars? I'm like, yeah, I could drive a car. He's like, go park cars till the kid comes back.
Oh my
And
gosh.
because the valley wasn't there, I parked cars for like 2 hours, and like Mercedes, whatever, Cadillacs, and these guys are great. Hey, Nikki, because I was the busboy.
Yeah.
And so then we started talking. What do you do? I'm a plumber. I do this. I have this construction site. I'm in waste management. And these guys were cool with me. Like I would work there for years. So I was
Yeah.
almost 18. At the end of my shift, the bartenders and I would have a beer together. And I was just looking at like none of these guys went to college. Some of them dropped out of grammar school.
Mhm.
Some of them never went to high school. And like they're super successful. And I remember coming home like, wow, I'm done with school.
Yeah.
I was making $600 a weekend
Yeah. As
at a
kid,
restaurant as a kid at 14.
Yeah.
Not selling drugs, like legitimate tip money, working Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I make like 150, 200 a night. And then at the end of my shift, I would go and break down the wedding because there was a catering hall next door,
Mhm.
connected. And then Eddie, he would hit me up with a $100 bill for helping out and just break off cash to me. And these older guys would always break off cash to me. Like, Nicky, warm my car up. Run outside, warm his car up. And like, it was just odd jobs around back then. And I was like, I don't need fucking anyone.
Yeah.
And so whether I was good or bad, it was like, I just was against school.
I feel like some people need that structure, that education, and some careers you need to do that. But I think if you know you're gonna get into some sort of artistic industry, your brain is just like, I don't need that algebra class.
Yeah. I was shoveling snow on the weekends, like when it snowed or whatever. It was just always entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
I think.
For those who don't know, The Bronx Tale was written about Nick.
Caladro.
Yeah. You should write a book. I just recently read Anthony Bourdain's
Okay.
book.
How was that?
Oh, it's excellent.
Yeah.
It's excellent. If you liked watching his show or just enjoyed his
I like
little
his
clips-
conversations. I enjoyed Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole nother
I
conversation.
know.
James, what's your take on Anthony Bourdain? And keep it somewhat not our old podcast style. Did you like Anthony?
I liked his content, but we'll just say he's got connections to Epstein.
Really?
Oh, big
All
time.
right, we'll talk about that off air then.
Yeah.
A
Another
whole
topic.
different
Another
direction,
day.
but
Yeah. Down that rabbit hole.
but I loved him.
Yeah, if you read his book, you can hear his voice while you're reading the pages. But just such an interesting person. I'm also, I finished that one, but now I'm reading a book about Rob Lowe.
I like
his
Rob
life.
Lowe. Hey, I saw that on the back table.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
What's it called?
fascinating.
The title of the book?
It's something like Stories I'd Only Tell My
Yes.
Friends.
Yeah.
It is excellent. But why I bring these people up is just like they knew they were artists and they lived their younger life in just this crazy fun way and through life
Yeah.
experience.
My 20s were wild.
Yeah, me too. If I remember some.
Yeah. I
Rob
lived
Lowe
in.
was great in Parks and Rec.
I was. I lived in. All right. So after high school, went to hair school, then Marine Corps after 9/11. Out of the Marine Corps, wound up moving to California.
Were you stationed there?
No, I got out of the Marine Corps
Oh.
here, and then I went back to California for a
Oh,
year, and then came
wow.
back here.
How was that? What made you? What made you?
I'll just. It's fucking a crazy story. So the girl I was dating in California wound up coming over here. My friend wound up getting a same day wedding in New York. And in the Marine Corps, if you get married, you get like housing allowance. You get so we wound up just getting married, moved to California. I was 24 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Lived out there for a year, came back here. Then obviously we separated. She's a great girl. We're still friends. And then wound up getting in a salon, but I was still out of it. I wanted to run a business. I didn't want to just do hair. I just was really good at hair.
Yeah.
That was the problem. But I knew like I loved the business side of it. So it was like the artist and they were fighting, the artist and entrepreneur in my brain. And I felt like I had a chip on my shoulder because people looked down on hairstyling back then. Like you're a hairdresser. So I always had something to prove.
Yeah.
And I kept fighting with myself on going back in the industry and out of the industry. So my 20s was trying to get businesses off the ground. I started a company. Well, backtrack. Went to the Dominican Republic for a bachelor party. Loved it there, stayed. I was there for 4 months, almost 5 months.
I don't know if you can hear my stomach growling. It's such hairstylist life.
Dominican Republic.
Didn't
Want
get
beans,
time to
rice and
eat.
beans. So I was sitting on the beach in Dominican Republic. I was like, I want to find a job where I can work from anywhere in the world. I was like, I'm going to start a website. and it was a website called Buddha Sport. James actually worked, the podcast producer for Buddha Sport.
Yep.
So you
And
guys known each other a long time.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
and so it was like
20 years.
skateboarding, MMA. It was a mixture of everything I enjoyed doing because they said, do something you enjoy doing. You'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Be fucking good at it. Make as much money as you can, and then sell that business or go do something you enjoy on the downtime because you'll never make money if you're just passionate about it.
Yeah.
Too many people love doing yoga, open a yoga studio, and then they fail.
Mhm.
Salon owners, you love doing hair, then you open a salon, and guess what? It fails.
Mhm.
You have to love business to be a business owner.
Mhm.
If you love doing hair, get into a really good salon, make as much commission as you can, and do something else.
And get a mentor.
Yeah, 100% a mentor.
Yeah.
And so I just had like this online store I'm trying to get off the ground, and I just couldn't do it. Like I just couldn't monetize it. Plus, I was doing other shit like selling weed and like making money that way. So I was never fully into it because I was
A
making
lot of partying too.
yeah, a lot of partying. And then I wound up getting in trouble in my 30s. I got arrested with like 11 pounds of weed.
Yeah, we were supposed to skateboard across the country.
Yeah. And I wound up getting dismissed out of court because it was that evidence was inadmissible.
Wait, did you say you were skateboarding
We were going to, yeah.
across?
So me and
the
James
country?
were going to skateboard.
Still.
Yeah, we're supposed to. We still might do it. So I was driving back from Michigan. This is all over the place. This is the ADD podcast from all over.
That's how my brain is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I'm driving back from Michigan, and I used to do this weird thing where I will save my 1s and 5s,
Okay.
like when I go to a bar or whatever,
Mhm.
and then I would find someone who was homeless or needed it and just break them off with a brick of cash.
Wow.
And so I went to a rest stop, and this guy was sitting here like he was just hungry, fucking dirty. I was like, you know what? I got that in my trunk of my car, like just a brick of cash. And so, like, I literally in New York City break someone off with a brick,
Wow.
and it was just 1s and 5s. Like, it looked like so much money. It was probably like
Yeah.
maybe $200. And
Hey, that's still a lot.
yeah, no, it is, but it just looked really cool. And I'm like, I gotta do something fucking big. I'm like, I'm gonna run across country and like do it for charity or something.
Was this before or
You're
after
missing
Forrest
a major
Gump?
part of the story.
This is after Forrest Gump. What'd you say, James?
You're missing a major part of the story.
What's part of the story?
With the little boy, the autistic boy Sasha, and Ace Skate
No,
Foundation?
I'm not there yet. That's why. Then James is like, I'm not gonna run across country. I'll skateboard. I'll longboard. I was like,
Oh
fuck
my
it, I'll longboard
gosh.
too. And then because we're gonna longboard across country, we found a company called A Skate, and they teach kids on the spectrum how to skateboard.
Oh, cool.
And so I was like, James, we're going to raise money for this. Like, none of us have any family members that are autistic, like nowhere on the spectrum. I
My
just
next
wanted
door neighbor is autistic,
Yes.
severely autistic.
and I was like, let's do it. And then I wound up getting arrested. And long story short, all the cases got dismissed. And I'm like, got rid of all my friends, like everyone who was in that part of my life.
Yeah.
And I was done too. I got out of the
Gotcha.
business beforehand. I was in the car at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Mhm.
So I was like, you know what? You are the sum total of 5 people you hang out with or you
Yeah.
surround yourself with.
Yes. But sometimes the universe does that.
It does.
Sometimes it has to push you in a
It-
really tough direction.
That morning, I woke up. I knew I was going to jail. I just knew it. And so I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I got the phone call. He needs a ride, picked him up. I knew the whole time what was going down. I just knew.
Yeah.
It's like, it was just weird. I just
Yeah.
knew it was happening. And so I knew it had to happen in my life.
Mhm.
And then I got out, obviously. Case got dismissed. It got dismissed because of this. I never signed a warrant to search my trunk. The box wasn't in my name. That was in my trunk.
Mhm.
It wasn't mine anyway. And I didn't know what was in it. I never opened the box. I was like, I don't fucking know. I don't know what's in that box. And so when they opened it, it got kicked out of court because you needed a warrant to search the box. But you could search the trunk because I gave consent to the trunk, not the box. And it was like
Whoa.
my lawyer was fucking awesome.
I was gonna say, was this your lawyer or like the
Yeah. Yeah. But no, it was expensive for this. Worth every dollar.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that's even allowed to talk about on air, but
I
fuck it.
don't
We're doing it
know.
now.
We're there
Yeah.
now.
So I had nothing to do with it. I had no idea what was in the box. Legitimately. Could have been teddy bears, could have been chocolate bars.
Yeah.
When they asked me, I was like, I have no idea. And so, like I said, everything got kicked out. The kid I was with, I don't know what he does with his life now, but
Probably the same thing.
yeah, probably same thing. And I was like, fuck, I got to do something.
Mhm.
I was like, let me start doing hair again.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta hit rock bottom.
Yeah. Started doing
Okay.
hair. And I was like, everything I learned from marketing to try and get that website to be successful and try and get this charity event off the ground, I just put into doing my hair business.
Mm.
And I wound up going from like zero to like $4,000 a week in less than 6 months. And I was just crushing Facebook ads, crushing social media. And I built my business in like a year and a half.
Wow.
I did it because I knew what I was doing too. But now I knew what I was doing online. Like I knew how to market.
Yeah.
And so it's fucking Google's easy. Facebook, it's easy because I spent 5 years trying to get something off the ground. and I didn't have the right product. Now I have the right product. So good marketing makes a bad product sell faster. And now I have a good service, a product that I provide, and I just marketed the shit out of it. And James, what I would work every day.
I watched it happen. It was such a weird time for me because I was still in my mid-20s and we were partying so heavy at the time. And Nick just disappeared. Like he was impossible to get in touch with. He was gone.
Which you had to do.
I had to go. I had to hit reset. Like I'm 30 now. I'm like, all right, I spent 30 years messing around. Let me get serious here.
Yeah.
And so I spent that 10 years learning about really crushing the salon industry. And then I'm 45 now. And so I was like, all right, I did it with that salon. It was doing like maybe 250 a year. I had to break $1 million. Like it was $1 million salon within a matter of 16 months, 18 months. I turned the whole place around. And then COVID happened. I wanted to believe in that partnership. I came over here. And then this salon, the first year, we broke $1 million in revenue the first year. And it was like the online store I started doing. And so online sales. Now I knew how to sell shit online. So I blew that business up. And then that's how I wound up getting this warehouse and all that. Then it was like the coaching business. But the thing that got me in here was a Tony Robbins business mastery class. He asks you 3 questions. What business do you think you're in? What business are you really in? And what business do you need to be in? Oof. And so I'm like, everyone thinks you're in a hair business. Right? And then what do you think you're in? I'm fucking babysitting business. Like I'm just, like, don't wear this. You fucked up her hair. You're just babysitting people.
Yeah.
Because you're an artist trying to be a business owner.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I got to learn how to be a business owner now. And so that's when I really stepped into coaching. And when I answered that 3rd question, it was either coaching or the recruiting business. Those are the 2 businesses we're in as salon owners, because you have to learn how to recruit stylists to work at your salon and recruit clients to come get their hair done there. And so the other one was coaching. I can hire anyone in the world, but if I can't mentor them the right way, then it's going to fall apart.
Right.
And so I have to, the recruiting part's easy. I had to really learn how to be a mentor and be a coach and be someone who could help guide someone to get to their goal and achieve what is important for them.
Yeah.
And so that was taking everything I ever learned in my life, every book I ever read, and putting it all into a blender and trying to create myself out of that. And I was like, all right, so that's why the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I went full force into that. And now I'm like, all right, now I'm going to take each one of these team members and give them the best version of me. So one of my coaches has a saying. It's like your purpose in life is to create the man you admire and then give him to the world.
Excellent.
And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. So I want to quit drinking.
Yeah.
And my daughter was born. I was like, I don't need to do this right now.
Yeah.
So I spent 2 years. I never drink. And like, I might have a sip of like a wine or something to taste it here and there, but I still don't really drink. No drugs, no nothing, unless it's like a microdose. And I'm totally aligned with my life's mission.
Yeah.
But that came from like ayahuasca journeys and meditation and prayer and like the healing and being in the right vibrational frequency to accept what the universe is giving me, what I feel and what I'm asking for.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people, because energy healings, one of the things that you do, I feel like we say we want something, but we feel we're not going to get it. And it's that feeling of anxiety about it not working out is what the universe kind of really hears and brings to you. It's your vibrational frequency.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then just bringing like full circle. It really is the things that you manifest. And as I was saying, like 10 years ago, me, who was a very anxious person, smoked weed, drank like vodka all the time. And it was what I was creating and manifesting. I was on Xanax for like my anxiety. And then finally, when I got out to California, which is funny, I stopped smoking weed once I got to California. But doing this energy healing, getting Reiki done on myself and intuitive healing, womb healing, so much for women comes from our womb and trauma, whether it's from being in your mother's womb, that's carried over.
This area right here, this is your center of your body.
Yeah.
Right. So in Japan, when they say come here, they go come here. This is where you're at, your gut. Like your gut feeling. That's your
second brain.
Yeah. And even that it's called the sacral chakra.
Yeah.
It's sacred. sacral. So yes, that's a big thing for women. So getting a lot of healing done for myself and then starting to go on this journey of taking classes and practicing energy healing and meditation. It's got to be a daily practice.
Well, in our industry too, you
Mm.
take the energy from people. Do you use Reiki while they're in the chair? Like kind of like if someone's going through they got bad energy, do you kind of clear it? Do you ever do anything like that?
Well, I started off doing Reiki classes and it didn't align with me.
Okay.
So then I have my friend that did womb healing and intuitive healing on me, and that really called to me. And so I started taking classes with her teacher and now with my friend. Um, you have to have permission from somebody
To do any of that, yeah.
to do that,
Okay.
even on a soul level. So I have my tools that I go into work or everyday practice that protect me. Because that's what I think a lot of my anxiety was coming from too, was just being very empathic and taking on people's energies. And as if you're a client or if you're a stylist, we're therapists.
Yeah.
You know, we deal with a lot of therapy, a lot of things negative. So I had to learn tools to protect myself. I will every once in a while, you know, speak soul to soul if, you know, my client would
Yeah.
like, you know, a calming feeling or an enjoyable experience, then yes, that's especially it happens when I'm doing the shampoo and scalp massage.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'll even catch me closing my eyes.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I look like a
I've seen you.
weirdo.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's okay.
You could be weird at our salon. One thing I used to do was like someone went through a bad day at work, a hand on the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Like a hand on the shoulder, just giving my good vibration or energy,
Yeah.
you could almost feel the weight lift off the person.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my day sucked. This happened. Hand on the shoulder. You're here now. You want a glass of wine? You want to relax? Want a water? And like, just that physical touch of like trying to transfer my good energy,
Mm-hmm.
like just being a good frequency would be enough to calm the person.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy how that happens.
Yeah.
But you have to be in a good frequency.
Mhm.
And like you can't take whatever happened at home into the
Right.
salon because your clients won't come out good that day.
Right.
Like if you're gonna fight with a boyfriend or a husband or your wife or whoever, before you walk in the salon, sit in the car, couple big breaths, and it's gonna be there when you get out of the salon. So don't worry about
Yeah.
it. It will still be there.
And not just on an energetic level, but on a professional level
Yeah.
too. I think that was something trained in was like, don't bring your problems on the floor.
It's
just
hard
a-
for some people. I don't get
Yeah.
it. It's easy for me to like shut it off. And I don't know why. Maybe it's the Marine Corps, but like if my wife's pissed, like everyone knows she's pissed. Like just I'm like, Dane, don't let it affect you on the inside.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
You know, some people are just like that. My sister's the same way.
I'm that way.
And
Yeah.
yeah, nobody's perfect. We're still human. As
Yeah.
much meditation as I do, like I was saying this in class the other day, like I still blow up. I still get mad at things. And I brought it up to my teacher. I'm just like, but I'm supposed to be like this really zen person. She's like, you're human.
Yeah.
You know, no matter how much meditation you do, it's like you're still
Yeah.
human.
Well, it's the universal law of polarity.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be calm if you are never upset.
Yeah.
Or like it just you need both.
Mhm.
And everything's on just a different level of the same thing.
Neutrality.
Yin
And
and
so-
yang.
balance.
It's crazy how that works. Because
Yeah.
there's times I get like angry. I'm like, what am I getting angry about? But you must enjoy like when you're so calm, it kind of feels good to get a little pissed every now and
That's
then.
my husband. He
Yeah.
loves to just get angry and like I'll feel like I'm matching myself to him and I'm like, whoa, hold
Yeah.
on. That's not my frequency.
Like it depends on what I want to do. Like for the
Yeah.
gym, like I have to hype myself up,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And
He
get into
will
that
be,
zone.
before we go to the gym, he is blasting Pantera, Metallica, or Rammstein.
Okay. Oh, Rammstein's really
Du hast.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
the time.
yeah. Or I put like motivational videos. Like with
Okay.
like people like speeches and shit with a cool beat in the background.
Okay.
But this morning was Metallica, Rage, Thunderstruck,
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses.
That's so that
You mean
that was so
ACDC?
weird.
Yes, you know, Guns N'
AC/DC,
Roses I
yeah.
put on too. So it was like that was my
Oh,
my
System of the
playlist.
Down.
Yeah,
That's my
that's
jam.
another one too.
They're playing this summer.
There's like,
Oh, they're playing this summer?
Yep, in Jersey.
but music has a huge connection on your energy as well.
Big time.
Like if you listen to like that angry music all the time, you're gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
That's why I like Luther Vandross, Al Green. I
Gotta
want to just,
sprinkle
yeah, I
it
want to
in.
chill a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But all right, Monroe. So you're in New Jersey until when? What's your schedule like? Every 5 weeks?
Yeah,
And like,
every 5 weeks I'm out in California. It's pretty much like clockwork
Okay.
at this point. But I am here till April 5th. So
all right. So
DM us,
if you
call
are
us.
someone who's struggling with curly hair and you just can't get a good haircut, or even if it's wavy, any kind of haircut, honestly, it doesn't matter if it's curly or not, but you want something different, someone to really listen to what you want. You want something like a razor cut, but you've seen it, but you're afraid of it. Go to her Instagram, check out our work. DM her, DM me. We'll get you in touch with her, and you will not be let down. She's amazing.
And this goes for not just women, but for men
And yeah.
and kids too.
Oh, yeah. She does everyone. Like some styles don't cut kids, but
Yeah,
kids need good haircuts too.
they do. They
Yeah.
need to learn. It sounds silly, but they need to learn hygiene. And at a young age, if they do have curly hair, taking care of it and embracing it and loving it.
Yeah, it's true. I had an afro as a kid. I used to love going to a salon as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, the smell of the perm's probably why I own it. But it was like when you first walked in, we went to the mall to get haircuts too when we were younger.
Oh.
Yeah. Or I went to my aunt's friend Denise. But I remember walking down the mall to that corner and you smelt the perms from like down the hall. And it was just so cool watching the barber side and like things going on in there. I love the salon industry. Like I love that the whole like the energy in the salon's great.
Yeah.
But when you go to California, if someone's listening and they happen to be in California, where can they find you in California?
So they can find me at Buffalo Co. in Temecula.
Okay.
It's SoCal, really cute area called Vail Headquarters. But
Cool.
same thing, DM me.
All right, James. Anything you want to add?
No, it was a phenomenal show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today's live. We will see you next time. Thanks, Monroe.
You're welcome. Thank you.